Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to episode number 1003 of NoDQ Video, right here on NoDQ.com and the YouTube channel. As a reminder, I will be in Los Angeles to do coverage for WWE No Mercy 2017. There will be a pre-show meetup at 1:30 if you're going to be in the LA area on Sunday, September 24th. Come join us. The link will be in the description box where you can RSVP for that. With that being said, let's get down to your questions. First one today comes from Michael Smith. Am I crazy to think that Triple H versus Owens could happen at WrestleMania? I did address this briefly on NoDQ Live. I did mention the idea that maybe Kevin Owens gets through Shane McMahon at Hell in a Cell, and then Triple H comes to get revenge on Shane's behalf and his family's behalf to set up a match perhaps at next year's WrestleMania. I would not rule that out, and I've also talked about potential Triple H matches at WrestleMania. I guess that one would make sense, even though I've said before, I'll say it again, I'm not really a big fan of Triple H getting back in the ring again. I don't think it's necessary. But if Triple H was going to get involved in the storyline, I actually like the idea more of Triple H siding with Kevin Owens and having a family feud. I know it's been done before, but it feels like the brand split is really cooling off, and if Triple H sided with Owens, this could redevelop the brand extension and maybe even take it to a whole new level. Maybe even have Triple H do an invasion angle with the NXT guys and have Kevin Owens be the leader of that group. There's a lot of different ways it could go, but if Triple H is going to be involved, which he very well could end up being, I would like to see him be aligned with Kevin Owens against Shane McMahon, just to make it interesting and get people invested in the brand split again. This one comes from Tyler Joseph Smith, regular NoDQ&A video, NoDQ video contributor and former panel guest. Do we finally have the killer Kevin Owens back? He seems to be booked stronger than NXT. Well, anybody who beats up the owner of the company is going to be looking very strong. Not many people can say that they kicked Vince McMahon's ass. Kevin Owens got the chance to do that. Vince took that beating from Owens. He took the headbutt. He took the frog splash. Vince even cut himself open apparently to sell the angle. Vince approves of Kevin Owens. Some people might say why. Some people might think, well, Kevin Owens doesn't fit the mold of a Vince guy. But Owens is very good in the ring, and he's a great promo, and Triple H has been high on him, and I think that that has really helped Owens. But the fact that Vince did all that on SmackDown Live leads me to think that Vince is in fact sold on Kevin Owens, and rightfully so. I think he's a very entertaining performer, and despite his weight, despite his physique, I think he's one of the best overall performers in WWE. And yeah, this is a huge moment for Owens to be in this storyline. This is something very significant, perhaps even more so than the angle with Jericho and the Festival of Friendship. This could really take Owens to the very top in WWE and give him some real credibility, even more credibility than he had as Universal Champion. This one comes from Rico. Who do you think will confront Dolph Ziggler over his new gimmick on SmackDown? Bobby Roode, Sami Zayn, and so forth. I'm assuming it's going to lead to Bobby Roode. I do not know this. We have not seen Bobby Roode on SmackDown the past 2 weeks while Ziggler has been doing the entrances. It makes me think maybe that's what this is leading to. Ziggler's going to come out doing Bobby Roode's entrance, and then Roode's going to come out, confront Ziggler, and there you go. You have a feud for Roode. It seems like Ziggler's being the guy to be fed to the newcomers like Nakamura and perhaps Bobby Roode. So it would be a bit of a copycat storyline, but at the same time, at least it gives something for Roode to do, something for Ziggler to do. And it's a good start for Roode in terms of a first major feud on the main roster. Maybe it could actually be more of a feud rather than just a one-time match like what we saw with Ziggler and Nakamura. Hopefully it will be better than that match. So we'll see. But I could very well see Roode and Ziggler having a match at some point. It seems to be a natural pairing at this stage of the game. Neither guy really has anything going on, so you put them together and see what happens. This one comes from Calvin. Do you think that the next New Day versus Usos match will be inside Hell in a Cell? I would like to see that. If we're going to have a second cell match, I actually think that that would be a better cell match than Nakamura versus Jinder Mahal. Man, like I mentioned on NoDQ Live, after that Mahal promo on SmackDown, I have no interest. I shouldn't say no interest, but very little interest in this Dolph Ziggler, Jinder Mahal versus Shinsuke Nakamura match. I'm just not buying into it. I have no investment in Jinder Mahal, and Nakamura seems to be cooling off with every passing week, so I'm not sure what you do at this point. It's the WWE title match, and it really should be the focal point of the pay-per-view, but it just doesn't feel like it. And even though they've been doing kickoff matches and matches that have not been given any kind of real significance, New Day and the Usos have been stealing the show as of late. Their Battleground match was arguably the best match of that pay-per-view, and a lot of people will say the SummerSlam match was one of the strongest matches of SummerSlam. Maybe the best match besides the main event. I mean, the Usos and New Day have been tearing it up. They've been having some really high-quality matches. So I would like to perhaps see that in a Hell in a Cell to end the feud once and for all. They've been going back and forth. That match seems to make sense for Hell in a Cell. You know, with Mahal and Nakamura, yeah, it's a rematch, but it doesn't feel like the feud has gotten intense enough to really justify it being inside Hell in a Cell. Even though Owens and Shane McMahon have not fought, the feud has been very intense up to this point, and it makes sense for it to be inside Hell in a Cell. It's worked in the storyline. So between Mahal and Nakamura versus New Day and Usos, I say Usos and New Day is a match that seems more fitting to be inside Hell in a Cell. What do you guys think? Leave a comment, let me know. Got this one here from Sean T. Flick, a regular long-time contributor. If Conor McGregor has a WrestleMania match, what do you think of Nakamura being his opponent who can work the MMA style? Problem. Nakamura doesn't really do the promos very well, and I think McGregor would be better off with somebody like The Miz, somebody who can go back and forth with on the mic. I think that that's something that's really important. McGregor is all about the trash talking, and I think you need somebody who can talk right back at him, who has just as big of a mouth as him. Nakamura might be interesting, but then again, like I've mentioned before, I don't think McGregor's coming in and losing. So would it be the best decision to have Nakamura lose to Conor McGregor? I think it would be better to have a heel step up against Conor McGregor so that way the heel can get shut up by McGregor. If The Miz is still a heel by that point, who knows? I mean, McGregor might not even be in WWE anytime soon. I think WWE's pushing for Ronda Rousey to do a match first. I think if McGregor does it, it'll be once his MMA career is over, and that could be a couple of years down the line at least. Who knows? But I think that it's too soon to start speculating on potential Conor McGregor matches. By the time he shows up in WWE, we could have a whole new crew of wrestlers and superstars, and there might be somebody else we're not even thinking of right now that could face off against McGregor. Got this one here from a good friend of mine up in Seattle, Brohawk. Miz and Maryse are expecting their first child. Will it take their child 12 damn years to get his or her moment in WWE or not? Well, I think it's more likely we'll see Matt Hardy's son get involved. We've already seen Matt Hardy's son appear on Total Nonstop Deletion in Impact Wrestling and make appearances on the YouTube channel for the Hardy Boys. But I could definitely see that as a possibility where Miz and Maryse's son ends up playing a role in a storyline 5, 6, 7 years down the line. I could definitely see that happening at some point, especially when both of your parents are in the wrestling business. I think that this kid is definitely going to be very much involved. He's going to be around all the time backstage, and at some point somebody might say, hey, let's put him in a storyline. Let's get him involved. You know, back with Rey Mysterio's son being involved in the Eddie Guerrero storyline. I could definitely see that as a possibility. Maybe much sooner than 12 years. This one comes from Cindy. Hey Aaron, do you think Maryse will ever wrestle again, or will she retire from WWE after the baby is born? And I'm pretty sure you sent in questions before, so why are you using PAIV1? That's for the new question submitters. What the heck? My computer just rebooted. Computers are so weird. I never intentionally restarted it, so it must have just done that on its own. But anyways, back to the question here about Maryse. I think that she might wrestle again. I think the door will always be open for her to wrestle again, but she hasn't really done much since coming back. I mean, she was part of the mixed tag team match at WrestleMania. She hasn't been a full-time performer. I could see her potentially doing one more match if the situation called for it, where you had an opportunity, a good opportunity for her to come back. But other than that, she's doing just fine as Mrs. Valet, and she might be off television close to the end of her pregnancy. But once that's over with, I could definitely see her coming back and at least being on TV with The Miz. But wrestling again, I mean, that just depends on if there's a good opportunity for her to do a match. This one comes from Juan. Who do you feel was a forgotten, missed opportunity to use when they had the chance? My pick would be Ultimo Dragon, gone too soon. And this guy used the hashtag PAIV1, first time asker. Thank you for the question. As much as I like Ultimo Dragon, I think he was a good performer. I was never that much into him. I never was into him as much as other people were, and I hate to say it, but the most memorable thing I remember about Ultimo Dragon in WWE was him tripping on the stage at WrestleMania 20. I think it was a good performer, but I do not know if he really fit in with the WWE sports entertainment environment. He did well in WCW for a while when the Cruiserweight division in WCW was taken seriously, and maybe he could have had a little bit more longevity in WWE as a Cruiserweight. But for whatever reason, it didn't work out for him in WWE. I think there are a lot of guys, I mean, the list is almost endless of guys that really should have gone further in WWE than they ended up going. We recently did a panel about this, about guys that never reached their full potential for whatever reason. But in terms of guys that the company really dropped the ball on, I mean, some would say Cesaro, even though he's been getting pushed on TV with Sheamus. Some feel he should have been a world champion. I mean, I would say he's way more deserving than Jinder Mahal, with all due respect to Mahal. Cesaro is just one of those really great talents that stands out against most. Another person is Austin Aries. Looking at recent performers in WWE, I mean, that guy should have been so much more, and it's really a shame that his run fizzled out so quickly. But there's a long list of guys over the past several decades. Again, what do you guys think? Leave a comment. Let me know who you thought was a guy that the company really dropped the ball on. Another guy, Damian Sandow, when he was doing all the entertaining stuff. I mean, even before being Mrs. Stunt Double, when he won Money in the Bank and then lost to Cena. Some would argue Wade Barrett, too, with Nexus losing at SummerSlam. There's a lot of guys. So go ahead and leave a comment and let me know what you think. Got this one here from NoDQ Rules. This guy knows how to get his questions answered. Is the Lita and Edge and Matt Hardy feud from 2005 underappreciated? I think it was appreciated by fans. I mean, Matt Hardy coming back and referencing Ring of Honor, that was a great angle to bring him back. I mean, that was really well done. But unfortunately, WWE just did not follow it up properly. Matt Hardy was basically jobbed out to Edge when Matt Hardy had the potential to be a breakout star in WWE. He's another guy you could add to the list based off of what happened in 2005. I just remember SummerSlam, Matt Hardy had all this momentum, and then they beat him real quick in I think it was the third match on the card or second match. It was just ridiculous. I mean, they really knocked the wind right out of his sails at that point. And I know he won a match after that, but then lost the loser leaves Raw match on the Raw Homecoming show. And then he went to SmackDown. And he never really got pushed all that strongly, but managed to consistently stay over with the fans despite not being pushed strongly. So I think the feud was underappreciated in terms of what was done in the beginning, but you know, it did fizzle out from SummerSlam on, and I think that's why people don't remember it as fondly as maybe it deserves to be remembered as. Got this one here from Mr. Yuck. How long down the road do you think before Finn Balor gets his title shot? Will he gain it back or years away? I'm starting to think it's not going to happen. I mean, there was talk about Balor possibly facing Brock Lesnar, but it feels like Balor has just been maneuvered into this mid-card position, and this is where he's going to stay for the time being. It doesn't look like they're going to go out of their way to really push the guy. You know, Strowman, Samoa Joe, Roman Reigns, these are the guys that are going to be pushed on top for the time being, and John Cena as long as he's making appearances on Raw. So I'm not sure if Balor's even going to get a chance until after next year's WrestleMania. I mean, if Lesnar leaves the company after WrestleMania and they need a spot at the top, I could see Balor being pushed again. But it feels like right now it's not going to happen. And with WrestleMania season coming up pretty soon, I mean, we're already in September, it just doesn't feel like Balor's going to get that opportunity. So I don't think they're gonna follow up on that. I mean, Balor in the storyline should be getting his one-on-one title match, and he hasn't. Got this one here from Converse Craig. Do you think that Asuka will thrive more on the Raw brand? Do you think she will contend for the championship right away? It's really hard to say. I mean, I think she could be a victim of bad booking on either show. Neither show is a guarantee she's going to be a success. I mean, she has to be booked strongly, and the stuff that has worked for her in NXT, that needs to be carried over to the main roster. Regardless if she's on Raw or SmackDown, I think a slight majority of fans think she's better off on SmackDown, but we'll see on Raw. There's potential. Like I said on NoDQ Live, right now, WWE needs to start pushing these women, all the women, really strong and building up contenders. Asuka needs 3 or 4 really solid contenders to feud with over the next year, and I think her run can be a success. But the women need to have some credibility. Nia Jax needs credibility. Sasha Banks needs credibility. Bayley needs credibility. Alexa Bliss. All of them need to be pushed really strong in preparation for Asuka coming up, so Asuka can have a series of really solid feuds, and you can maximize her value and get the most out of her. Got this one here from Michael. Which are potential cities to host WrestleMania 35? Atlanta, Philadelphia, or Miami? The running joke is that WWE only goes to Florida, Texas, and California and rotates back and forth. Now, California is inevitable, but I think WrestleMania will not be back in California until the new Rams Stadium is finished, and that's looking like 2020, 2021. WrestleMania 35, 2019. I could see it being in Texas again, maybe Houston. I think Philadelphia is more of a long shot. WWE doesn't like to run in the Northeast because of the weather, and they don't want to take that risk. They would rather run WrestleMania in a warmer climate city during that time period. So it's unlikely WWE will run in the Northeast. It might happen though. Never say never. It all depends on which city is willing to make the biggest bid, but I'd like to see things changed up. I'd love to see WrestleMania back in Seattle. Hell, Vancouver. That poor guy, that fan, every year brings the sign WrestleMania for Vancouver, and it never happens. I'd love to see WrestleMania back in Canada, preferably Vancouver because it's close to me, but hell, Calgary would be nice. Toronto again. Minneapolis. There's a lot of different places that I think would be interesting to hold WrestleMania. Las Vegas, that will probably happen in a couple of years once the Raiders' new stadium is finished there. But for next year, or should I say 2019, my best bet would be either Atlanta, Houston, or Miami. One of those three cities would not surprise me at all. That'll wrap it up for this edition of NoDQ Video. Again, check out the event page if you're in the LA area for No Mercy. We're having a pre-show lunch get-together. Hopefully some of you in SoCal can make that. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest regarding No Mercy. And I will be back for another edition soon of NoDQ Video. And next week, NoDQ Live, Monday night, Tuesday night, and the day before No Mercy, I'm planning on a big edition of NoDQ Live, a special Saturday edition. Hopefully myself and good old JM Jeff Meacham, maybe even Interstate Kyle. We'll see, time will tell. But I'm planning on doing something big for No Mercy weekend. So stay tuned, and I will see you guys next time.